afternoon. Welcome to the Pony Up Pregame Show presented by Origin Bank. I'm Rich Phillips. We're here at the Armstrong Fieldhouse, the indoor practice facility for the SMU Mustangs, getting you ready for this afternoon's sold-out game between the SMU Mustangs and the Boston College Eagles. We're coming to you unbuffered today on the Pony Up Pregame Show right here on the SMU Mustangs Facebook page. We got a lot to talk about getting ready for another ACC game and a chance for SMU to go 6-0 and continue to control their own destiny in the ACC race. Joining me here on the show as always, Scott Garner. Scott and I will also have the radio broadcast later on today, 2:30 kickoff on 96.7 and 1310 The Ticket for SMU and BC. Before we get into some of the stuff about today's game, let's look back last time, which was 2 weeks ago when SMU last played, a 48-25 win over previously undefeated Pitt. 8-1, 5-0 in the league, 14th in the AP and the CFP polls. And a matter of fact, highest SMU's been in the AP poll since 1985, if you can believe that.
I can believe that, and this team deserves it. They've been playing so well, and we talk about the offense so much and about the changes that have been made, but how about the improvement that's been made, not just on the offensive end, but on the defensive end, which I think is so incredible. And I don't know that I've seen a team improve in season this much, maybe ever, because you and I had talked about how some of the different position groups weren't as strong as they need to be just to be average. Well, not only are we not average, we're elite in different spots that we're very surprised about, including the cornerback position in our linebacking group. We tackled as well as any team I've ever seen on the Hilltop, maybe in 20 years. It's been incredible to watch this team develop, but the tackling in particular was just incredible against Pitt.
That's one of the things I brought up first thing to Rhett Lashley a couple weeks ago on his weekly radio show was the difference in tackling in that game. I mean, play two, Keyshawn Smith is horizontal to the ground, and it goes for 42 yards because they didn't bring him down. And when you look at those linebackers, Kobe Wilson had 11 tackles, Ahmad Walker had 10, and I swear one guy was funneling the runner or whoever had the ball to the other guy time after time the other night. They were so solid tackling. And the primary defense, the final score was 48-25. The real defense gave up 11 points. Third and fourth stringers were in when they scored their last two touchdowns because they had pretty much broken their spirit by that point.
That and an interesting number, we talk numbers all the time, and Kevin Jennings was amazing, and there's no question about it. 306 yards. Listen to this, Rich. 77% of those 306 yards, 235 yards, they came after the catch. It was the yards after the catch, the toughness shown by the wide receivers. You want to know about the Mustang team and how they've improved? It's that, and it's doing it without R.J. Maryland, without Bailey, who I think may be the second best pass catcher on this team to start the year. But those other guys stepping up, Hibner, I thought he was just amazing in that Pitt game.
Yeah, 3 catches for Matt Hibner, 108 yards, and an 80-yard touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
Literally my call on that was when he broke free at midfield was, let's see what kind of speed the big tight end has. He had a lot of speed, as it turns out, and I think they said he was clocked at 21 miles per hour on that play.
Nobody was catching him.
No.
I thought, surely he'll at least get down to the red zone. He scored on it. I couldn't believe that.
Rhett said he was planning on his play to call from the 20.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. You watch that play from the beginning, and it was really supposed to be a wham play where they faked the block of the defensive end. They let the defensive end go, and he comes over to block the defensive end. He faked as if he was going to block him, and then it went out up the seam there on a kind of a slip screen. If it were a basketball game, you call that a slip screen. But he did a great job of catching, running, and he got to full speed in a hurry. Now, the safety was out of position, but he was not going to catch him.
You mentioned Kevin Jennings. He was 17 of 25, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns. And let's keep in mind, that was 7 days removed from a 5-turnover performance that he had at Duke. And as we kind of expected, that's the outlier, all the turnovers, and it didn't affect his brain. It didn't affect his head. Kevin is such a calm, cool guy that he just went out there like nothing had happened a week before and kept going.
There's an old phrase. It's called water off a duck's bag, and that's the way a quarterback has to be. That's the way most players have to be, but particularly the quarterback. Make a mistake, you can't worry about it. You just got to keep playing. He's as good as I've seen at this level in a long time doing that. Nick Saban's lauded him on game day a number of times.
He had a breakdown today on game day. It's on the SMU football social channel, I know, that you could see. And, I mean, he calls him one of the most underrated players in the country. This is Nick Saban who is saying this, and he showed a bunch of different things he did on tape things like where he just barely fakes like this, and it gets the defender to jump, and then he's able to easily deliver the ball right there.
His intermediate accuracy is elite right now. I mean, it may not always be that way, and quarterbacks kind of go in and out of things like that, but I thought he was elite in that Pitt game. How about that back shoulder throw to Moochie Dixon to set up the touchdown? That was really good, but the throw to Brashard Smith, I thought, in the end zone on time. He let the play develop, extends the play, and then puts it to where only he can catch it in the back of the end zone, right on the sideline, and he's able to toe tap for the touchdown.
Not every running back in America is able to make that catch either. A running back who was a receiver for 3 years makes that catch. He's now a running back, by the way, and here's all he did was 23 carries, 161, and 2 touchdowns on the ground, a 71-yarder, and then he had the touchdown catch you mentioned. The last 2 games, Brashard has run for 278 yards and 3 touchdowns. He needs, I believe it's 94 yards today to have a 1,000-yard rushing season. It'd be only the 12th different player, I believe, in SMU history to do it.
It was an incredible catch, but I thought Brashard Smith, too, on that 71-yard power run. It came right after the 4th down stop, and that's the one thing that you notice, too, in some of these games. It's not just the big plays that are occurring. It's when they're happening. But to get that play, it was just sort of a stake in the coffin there. We get the 4th down stop, and then all of a sudden we break off the explosive play. That's what this team has been doing. That's why we're so good this year. It's the defense and the offense. It's the complementary football, as Rhett calls it.
I got more on explosive plays for you in a few minutes.
Okay.
Let's also say thanks to Miami losing to Georgia Tech last week. So SMU now controls their own destiny at 5-0 in the conference. Clemson's 6-1, Miami's 5-1, Louisville's 4-2, and have already lost to SMU. Pitt's 3-2, they've already lost to SMU. In the driver's seat to try and get to a conference championship game here at the 1st of December.
You know, and we've got to play teams. I realize they're back end of the conference teams, but these are teams that have winning records, and I don't care how you slice it. This is going to be a tough game today with Boston College. They can run the football. They are physical. They've made a switch at quarterback. Everybody thought Castellanos was hurt last week. Well, apparently he and Bill O'Brien and some of the coaching staff kind of got into it, and, you know, reportedly there have been occasions where, you know, they'll call one thing and maybe Castellanos wasn't calling it. He was running something else. And so they've had some issues there. They bench him. And what does he do? He decides to get back in the portal. Let's go to the portal. Yeah, we're just going to get in the portal. So that's what he's done. Who knows? I hope this isn't the case, but Grayson James is solid. Now, he's more of a game manager, pocket guy, but sometimes they make a switch and it gives them a spark. I hope that's not the case today.
Yeah, BC comes in here today 5-4, 2-3 in the conference. They did snap a 3-game losing streak with a 37-31 win over Syracuse last week. They did it all on the ground. They ran for over 300 yards.
Yeah.
They had 2 guys run for over 100. Kai Robichaux almost ran for 200 yards himself in that game. And so that's obviously what the defense has to stop here today. By the way, it's an SMU defense that only gives up 90 yards a game on the ground.
It's incredible. You look at that's 5th in the country, 5th best team in the country. That's what we're talking about. This team was not this good to start the year. It says everything you need to know about the SMU coaching staff. And I'll say this. I was on a show earlier this week, and one of the things we talked about is how Scott Simons may be the best defensive coordinator. I think he's the best defensive coordinator in the league. One of the top coordinators in the country, this guy. They go back and watch tape of Pitt game. I'm telling you, this is what they did. They go back and watch Pitt play in September, early October, and they see that Pitt struggled offensively facing odd fronts. Well, we don't run an odd front. We run an even front, 4 down linemen, but on the very time that we needed to really switch it up and to cause havoc, Scott Simons dials up odd front for the first time of the game. We drop the defensive end in coverage. They completely blow up. We make a play. That's what's happening here. Not only are we playing well, but the coaching staff, I think, is coaching at an elite level.
He's a mad scientist is what he is.
He's
got
exactly
a lot going on there, a lot in his playbook, and
yes,
it is working fantastically for SMU. They look to make it 9-1 today, hosting Boston College. Again, 2:30 is the kickoff. Scott and I will have the radio broadcast, 96.7, 1310 The Ticket, Sirius XM Channel 193, and it's a 2 o'clock pregame show, so check us out for that. Turn down that TV sound and listen to us. We get a little more excited on some of those SMU plays. We told you about the Mustangs win over Pitt a couple of weeks ago. Let's see some of those highlights.
Ranked matchup on the ACC network. Pitt will travel to Dallas in an old-school ACC slugfest. And SMU has been amazing. This kid from Dallas, I never thought about us, wearing our suits and boots. Never thought about us fitting in the ACC, but I digress. SMU, they're in position to maybe get to the ACC title game right now. Undefeated in the conference. in their first year.
This game's about toughness. This game's about toughness. Our opponent prides themselves on being a tough team, a tough outfit. But in all big fights, whoever the most aggressive is probably going to win. But we got to be the aggressor for 4 quarters. That's it. Think aggression.
Say 2 things every week. Don't get tired of being second. You chase the standard. You chase that mother. Let's go yours.
But I know who we have in this room. I don't care how many guys are beat up, how many guys are out, how you feel. We're tough. You have to be the aggressor. Every play, every snap, from the jump. When in doubt, default to the great ancient philosopher Mike Tyson. All right? Everybody's got to play until you hit them out. Let's go. Walk around.
Kick away from Sauls. There'll be no return by the Mustangs. And so we're going to look at SMU's offense. Up in the pocket, long throw, up the ladder and caught, and spinning away is Keyshawn Smith. Down the far sideline, into pit territory goes Smith. It's a quick throw to the perimeter. Here goes Smith again. Tried to fire through, does inside the 20. First and 10 for the Mustangs. Almost as an H-back. Here's Brashard Smith on the ground at the 15. Smith diving forward. Another quick hitter. Here's Smith spinning at the 5. He'll be tackled at the 2. First and goal for SMU. First and goal for the Mustangs. Johnson straight ahead. 5th rushing score of the year for L.J. Johnson, and SMU makes quick work of their first possession. Holding opponents in ACC played under 31% on 3rd down. Holstein from the pocket, in trouble, sacked. Isaiah Smith. Last year felt like it should have been a couple of penalties. Here's Holstein dumping the ball. That's the tight end. I think Gavin Bartholomew. Barfield in motion. Here's Holstein to his right, looking for an intended receiver was Mumfield, and he was defended. So Ben Sauls puts Pitt on the board with just under 6 minutes to go in this first quarter with a 44-yard field goal. Player development is still real in college football. Here's Brashard Smith coming back to the near side. He's got the first down, and he will take on Philip O'Brien Jr., P.J. O'Brien. He's 24 years old. Here's Key Thompson tonight's his 47th career game. Here goes Smith, reverse, and this is Roderick Daniels to the right. Daniels eludes one, dives and scores! Oh my goodness! And Pitt is in a real answer-back situation. Holstein tripped up as he came out of the pocket. A flag is thrown down as he's sacked for a loss of 3. Here is a very big 3rd and 2. 2 receivers to the boundary. That's Poppy Williams in motion. They're going to hand it to Reed, trying to find a crack in the wall. It's not there. And here is Sauls for 47.
I think it can get positive yardage there.
And it misses. SMU from its 29 with an 11-point lead, and Brashard Smith midfield, and it's a foot race. Smith to the 25, the 10, touchdown. Reed with the carry, and trouble for Moses. Or Walker, the linebacker. Ahmad Walker. Here's a throw to Brashard Smith, and the Panthers trying to hem in. That's Daniels, and Roderick Daniels taken down. And Jennings on the snap, buying time. Tries to do something with it, throws to the end zone. Brashard Smith caught it. It's a touchdown. Oh my goodness. Now they'll restart the clock, and here's Jennings. Jennings loads, he will throw. It is caught. He'll run one more before Rogers or not. There's the spike with 7. 50 yards away. Kick from Rogers is good. Field goal.
man, all that blocking, keep our intensity, keep our physicality. We're doing an awesome job of attacking, being aggressive, and valuing the football. Keep doing that for 30 more minutes. We're going to like the results. Let's go.
Every time in traffic. Every time in traffic.
Play the time.
The safety to take the punt of Junko. Been a tough night for Junko. They're going to fake this. Here's Bartholomew, and he's going to break for a yard or two, and that's it. 27-yard try for Rogers. And he will boot that one right through, and we got a new score. Jennings under duress, going to hang it downfield. Look at here, Keyshawn Smith. Holy smokes, what a catch! My goodness.
Rylan Gandy.
And here goes Brashard Smith, touchdown. Gracious. And here's Holstein. Looks, now dumps across, and Reed deflected it, and it's intercepted in the end zone. And Jonathan McGill has got his second interception of the year. Jennings on the play fake, slides it upfield. Matthew Hickner off to the races. Hickner at the 30, full speed, and the big tight end goes 75. It's a Pony Express.
Let's go! Let's go! Mustangs, Bluebirds, baby. Got it.
Unbelievable team win. You swept the third quarter. You're 5-0 in conference, tied for first place. Hey, you guys started fast and played great the entire game. Defense, 3 points to that offense. Hey, offense, 48 and no turnovers. We played a defense that just a week and a half ago scored 3 times on defense. All right. Great team win. Offense had 0 turnovers. Ran for 160, 170. Threw for over 300. All that stuff. You can't do that without an O-line. Logan, where are you at?
Left guard Logan Parr breaking the rock last week after the Mustangs win over Pitt. This is the Podium pregame show presented by Origin Bank. Time now for Rhett to the Point. Some clips from SMU head coach Rhett Lashley from his weekly show, the Pony Express Show, over at Ozona Grill and Bar. SMU 8-1, 5-0, alone in first place in the ACC. And I asked him, come on, be serious. You're exceeding your preseason expectations, right?
It has been special to watch our guys because that question now is starting to come up a lot more, you know, and it is cool. I mean, it's cool to do something that's never been done before or maybe do something better than others have ever done it. I think our kids just deserve a ton of credit. I mean, we had, you know, the breakthrough last year to win 11 games, win a championship kind of breakthrough deal, but then have so many of those guys that were able to return. And so I think you just have a veteran group coming back, and then the pieces that our staff brought in to add to that just fit right in to those guys and kind of bought into what we do. And you know, like I've told a lot of people, they've had, how has that happened? I was like, I don't know. We didn't tell them they weren't supposed to be 5-0 in the conference. And they just go out and play, and they love to play. They love to compete together, and they just expect to win.
We talk a lot about big plays that have been made on offense, big plays on defense. You know, they have 4 defensive touchdowns this year, but there is no doubt tackling has been the key to this defense.
The explosive plays in the game was around 12-2. You know, coming into the game, they made a big deal about our offenses, and I think we were like 10.8 a game. They were like 9.9. I mean, anything over 9 is pretty good. And for our defense to hold that offense to only a couple explosive plays, you have to tackle well in space. And I thought over and over and over again, you saw our guys, whether it was Ahmad Moses or Brandon Crossley or Ahmad Walker. It felt like there was 3 Ahmad Walkers on the field most of the night. Deuce Harmon with a play. Like, they got him on the ground. And to your point, if not, they got him slowed down enough for everyone else to swarm and get there. And then, you look at Keyshawn's play, second play of the game. You look at Matt Hibner's play on third down, and probably every other time Brashard touched it, like, we were making somebody miss or beating a tackle, and that was the difference.
Home today for the SMU Mustangs hosting Boston College at 2:30 this afternoon. BC may be 5-4, but Rhett Lashley certainly won't overlook them.
The records sometimes give people a perception. I think this is a better version of their team last year. Early in the year they had a couple big wins. They play really good defense. They're one of the top defenses in our league. They have one of the top pass rushers in our league. I think he's around double-digit sacks. They play NFL-style defense, multiple in their coverages, multiple in their fronts, and they play the game hard and tough, and they don't give up a lot of points.
That is Rhett Lashley. Rhett to the point here on the Pony Up pregame show. It's brought to you by Origin Bank. Origin Bank knows what strong teams can accomplish by working together. Origin's trusted advisors help you keep your financial goals within reach. Get the right people on your team today at origin.bank, member FDIC. Time now for our view from the sideline. The third member of our radio crew joining us here, Steve Lansdale, who'll be on the sideline this afternoon on the ticket with us doing the game. And let's talk first about the SMU defense. Pretty tall task with a running team that they face today and a brand new quarterback that they're going to face, which, frankly, some of us, I think, are happy about because we saw way too much Thomas Castellanos last year in the Fenway Bowl.
Right. The Mustangs and the Mustang coaches and the Pony fans all remember what happened the last time SMU saw Boston College. Thomas Castellanos ran through and around and over the SMU defense for 156 yards, a couple of touchdowns, MVP honors in the Fenway Bowl. So earlier this week, Rhett Lashley was asked about the quarterback position at Boston College after BC had benched Castellanos last week against Syracuse, brought in Grayson James, and Rhett Lashley said, we expect to see both of them. Well, at the same time that he was announcing that, Bill O'Brien up in Boston was announcing that Grayson James is going to be the starter today, and Castellanos subsequently quit. Didn't quit. Announced he's going into the transfer portal. So now it's a matter of how do the Mustangs respond to Grayson James. He's bigger. He's taller. He can still run. He's not a human joystick like Castellanos is, but he can still run, and he's a local guy. Yeah. So there will be Grayson James fans in the crowd. He is from down the road in Duncanville, and he plays a more pro-style pocket kind of quarterback, which is what Bill O'Brien is used to coaching a while ago at Penn State and also in the NFL. He fits the O'Brien offense. So the Mustangs will still have to contain him, but it's a little different animal. If you can keep James in the pocket and make him beat you with his arm, that's different than Castellanos, who frankly didn't throw as well. James throws better. And BC also runs the ball very well. Kai Robichaux, big, powerful running back for BC. He's the current ACC running back of the week. So it's a different look than what the Mustangs would have expected maybe a week ago. And it's a good thing that against BC's very solid offensive line, it's a good thing that SMU has a solid, deep defensive line to try to match up with that.
Now, offensively for the Mustangs, up front they have a lot of work to do because one of the best defensive ends in the country is here today. Donovan Ezaraku, he's top 10 in the country in sacks and tackles for loss.
Right, exactly. It's very rare that you see a defensive end leading a team in tackles.
Yes.
He leads the team in tackles for loss. His 10 sacks are fourth in the entire country. And this is when every team that faces Boston College builds its protection scheme around protecting against Ezaraku. He is an absolute force. He's one of those guys when you hear someone say you can't stop him, you hope to contain him. Well, that's kind of what the Mustangs have to do today. They move him around, so it'll be P.J. Williams, it'll be Savion Byrd on the other side. I expect you'll see a lot of Stone Eby as a migrating tight end to whatever side Ezaraku is on, and the running backs will have to help out as well. Also, look for the Mustangs to run at him, because when teams have run away from him, Ezaraku has the wheels to chase people down from behind. If you run at him, maybe you get him back on his heels a little bit more. That impacts both his run defense and how aggressively he attacks the passer.
All right, that's Steve Lansdale, our view from the sideline. We'll have Steve back on the show here for a couple more segments momentarily. Right now, though, basketball season underway now for the SMU men. They've got a new point guard on the team, Boopy Miller. Let's learn more about it with Bree Sorensen.
Bree Sorensen here, and today we're walking baseline to baseline with SMU basketball guard Boopie Miller. Boopie, how's it going?
Going great. What about you?
Great, great. Now, you transferred here from Wake Forest, so you're used to ACC basketball, but how has Dallas been treating you?
I've been loving Dallas. You know, just the people around here, they show love to me, and, you know, just everybody's nice, so I love the opportunity that I got here.
What made you decide to come to SMU specifically?
Basically, I would say the coaching staff, me talking to infield and meeting everybody on the coaching staff, it just felt like family-oriented, stuff like that, so I felt like this was going to be the best fit for me this year.
Absolutely. Now, you're one of 3 team captains here at SMU, but who's the leader that you look up to?
I would say Keon. I feel like he's a fifth-year guy, been in college for a long time, so he goes hard every day, and, you know, he just tells me to stay on my square and just keep going.
Absolutely. Now, if you could play anyone one-on-one, who would you pick and why?
I would say Kyrie Irving. I feel like he's the best player in the world, hardest player to guard, you know, actually in the NBA. And I feel like that's the best league, so I would say Kyrie Irving.
You think you can take him?
Yeah, I definitely think
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Boopie, and good luck.
Thank you.
Love the confidence there. Boopie Miller and the Mustangs will be back at Moody Coliseum Monday night at 7 o'clock. Next up here, we're going to talk a little men's tennis. Steve is back with us, and let's welcome in Grant Chin to the show. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me. What a beautiful day and an exciting day for a little bit of football.
Absolutely.
Coach, the biggest story around SMU athletics all year has been the move to the Atlantic Coast Conference. And Scott and Rich and I talk a lot on this show about how that impacts the football program. So I will ask you what I've asked other coaches. How does this impact men's tennis, and where do you see the Mustangs fitting into that ACC landscape?
Well, it's exciting, and thanks for having me on the show. But just like in football, it's absolutely transformational. And I think that's the best way I would describe it. It puts us in a different league. It puts us in a different stratosphere. And it's just a much different conversation. You know, it's like bringing up to the big game. So, look, it's a lot of fun. The ACC tennis is one of the strongest. They've won the national championship several years, the last couple years, and we're looking for the challenge. So, you know, where we are, we'll probably have 8-9 teams in the top 40 and we're in the country, and we're ready for that.
Okay, that leads directly into my next question, which is there were 2 ACC teams in the NCAA quarters last year in Virginia and Wake. Wake made it, I think, to the semifinals.
Correct.
How heavily do you expect the ACC to populate the final rounds of the NCAA tournament this year?
It's going to be the exact same. Duke is a great team. Wake continues to be a very strong team. I mean, we've got Florida State. They're going to be a top 15 team. So there's so many great programs out there. We're looking for the challenge. We've got an amazing schedule. You know, not only just the conference schedule, but we're also hosting the national team indoor championships in February right here at our beautiful Steisinger All-Tech Tennis Complex. That's the 16 best teams in the country. We're really looking forward to that challenge, and the Mustangs will be able to compete against the best teams at home.
Your sophomore Trevor Svida qualified for the NCAA individual tournament next week in Waco. What do you expect from him there, and where are the areas of growth that you still see in front of him? Sort of what's his ceiling? What can he become for you?
He really has been done a great job these last 10, 11 months. I mean, we forget that he's still 18 years old. He spent most of his freshman season playing number 1 as a 17-year-old.
Right.
And it's crazy to think of where he has come and what he still has ahead of him. But no, he's had a good fall. The last couple of weeks has been very exciting. He had a small little injury that held him back a little bit in September, but it actually ended up being a really good thing. I think he needed a little bit of rest, a little bit of R&R, let the body heal, and also just the load management. You know, I mean, he plays year-round. There's so many tournaments all season and all year that, you know, a little bit of break is actually very, very productive. So, you know, he had a couple good tournaments. He's now played about 17 matches and 4 events in the last 5 weeks. And he's ready to go. We've got some rain in the forecast the next couple days, so we'll be planning for that. But I know Trevor and his game is dialing in. He's really going to be locked in, and he's going to make a run. He had a nice tournament last year, almost made All-American status, and I know that's definitely going to be a goal for him.
We talk about what he's done at such a young age, but you're not a young-only team. You've got 6 guys who are either grad students or seniors. What are you getting from that group, both on and off the court?
I think it's actually wonderful to have a nice balance. You've got some upperclassmen, you've got some seniors, you've got some grad students who've got a lot of experience, and then you mix them in with some fresh blood. We've got 2 good new rookies from Charlotte, North Carolina, and Las Vegas, Nevada, and then you add in Trevor, and then you add in a few others, and bam, I think it's a nice balance. It makes for some really great dialogue and energy on the tennis court, but also in the locker room. I think you got the seniors and the captains, our 2 captains, Max Szilagyi from Florida, as well as Jerry Barton from local Dallas, and they're both been tremendous leaders and role models on and off the court, and I know they're ready to elevate the program.
All right. And you mentioned the 2 rookies, obviously. You have these 2 youngsters, Xavier Calvello and Noah McDonald, both of whom collected multiple wins at the recent Ralston Neufeld Cup. Yeah. As a coach, obviously, you're always thinking about roster construction and building for the future. What do you see in their future, and what does that say about your program to have Trevor and Xavier and Noah and that much talent at such a young age?
Well, I just think it continues this revolving door. As the next couple months, we're going to certainly have some guys graduate in May, but I know that these couple guys are going to be able to carry that torch moving forward. But Noah and Xavier, they've done a great job, not just at our home event a few weeks ago, but at the ITA Regionals down in Waco and then a few other events. They've collected quite a few matches, and Noah's had a couple great victories, some ranked teams, and Xavier as well. I mean, his skill sets and both of them and what they can bring, it's exciting to see, and I know this spring challenge up ahead is going to be a fun one to see them in action.
Grant Chen, coach of the men's tennis team, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys. No, appreciate it.
Best of luck.
Absolutely. Let's do it today.
Let's do it. Thanks, Grant. Appreciate you coming by. Good to see you.
Absolutely. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll have Steve back again in a moment when we pick games, but right now it's time to meet the enemy here on the Pony Up pregame show. It's the Boston College Eagles. The Mustangs play at 2:30 this afternoon. 3rd all-time meeting between SMU and BC, and they've split the first 2. SMU won 31-29 in Dallas back in 1986. And, of course, BC won the Fenway Bowl last year, 23-14. A quarterback change. Thomas Castellanos had passed really well, actually, this year, better than last year at least. 1,366 yards, 18 touchdowns, 5 picks. Only run for 194 yards. This guy ended up with 1,000 yards on the ground last year. Now Grayson James from Duncanville High School comes in. He did start the Western Kentucky game this year when Castellanos was hurt. Threw for 168 yards and a touchdown. Ran for a touchdown. He had a touchdown pass last week coming on in the second half against Syracuse.
And he can throw the ball a little bit, get it to that 3rd level. Castellanos not only had trouble doing that, he didn't want to do that. This is a guy that, again, Grayson James gives them a better chance to win, they feel. Concerns me a little bit because we're going to load up to stop the run. We're going to talk about that, but he can throw it. He can loosen up that defense, so it's cause for concern. But, again, he's very disciplined, a pocket passer. His teammates love him, and really more of a game manager than Castellanos. Teams have struggled to get pressure on him. The Boston College O-line has been really good at times.
James did start a handful of games 2 years ago at FIU, threw for 1,900 yards, 11 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. As a senior at Duncanville High School, he threw for over 3,800 yards and 42 touchdowns. They have a new head coach this year, too. One of Scott's favorites, for sure, Bill O'Brien, a longtime offensive coordinator for the Patriots, former head coach of the Texans and Purdue, and he's obviously changed things up a little bit this year for BC.
I guess I was a little shocked, too, because as somebody who roots for the Texans, I'm surprised he won 4 division titles in 6 years. They still fired him. He's a very good coach.
They listen to you is why.
Yeah, me and about 50,000 others, I think. But, yeah, O'Brien, he is a good coach. Good quarterbacks coach, too. I mean, he's coached some good quarterbacks. Bryce Young, Tom Brady, Deshaun Watson. He knows how to get it done. Former Boston College head coach Jeff Hapley, he left for the Green Bay job. I was a little bit surprised by that, but I think they've got a good one.
And then at running back, Kai Robichaux, the running back of the week in the league last week with 198 yards, 2 touchdowns.
This guy.
Jordan McDonald, though, is a guy who had 5 carries on the year before last Saturday. He had 15 carries for 133 yards and a touchdown in that game.
He did. He's going to get vertical, but the story really is Robichaux. Fast, quick, very versatile, small, not afraid to run between the tackles, where we heard this before. But I think his best attribute is that he finishes off runs, and he's got an offensive line that pulls and pulls well in gap scheme. You'll see that backside guard, and they'll run some GT counter, but the tight ends block really, really well. They can can catch the ball well, but none of the wide receivers have great numbers because Castellanos, he couldn't get it to them. But he didn't want to run. He wanted to be more of a thrower. He couldn't see over the offensive line. They had some problems there. I think James gives them a better element. This game could be tighter than a lot of people think.
Defensively, we talked a lot already about Donovan Ezaraku. He has 11 sacks, 14 tackles for loss. Don't overlook the other end. Quintavious Hutchins has moved over there the last 3 weeks. He has 3 sacks, so they're capable on both edges here.
Ezaraku, I think Steve said something that was very crucial. This guy, if you run away from him, he can chase you down. He chased a guy down 9 yards downfield on the other side of the field as a backside defensive end and made the tackle at the first down marker. He's very athletic. He's smart. He reads well. He anticipates well. He is a Remington semifinalist. He is a very good defensive end.
All right, let me give you my stat of the week this week. It is 20.
20.
That is the number of 80-plus yard pass plays in SMU football history. 20.
And we've seen how many this year?
We've seen 3 in the last 3 weeks.
That's
from Kevin
incredible.
Jennings. An 87-yarder on the first play to Moochie Dixon at Stanford, an 81-yarder to Roderick Daniels at Duke, and an 80-yarder to Matt Hibner last week against Pitt. Prior to that, he had never thrown one longer than 51. You mentioned it, too. These aren't bombs he's throwing.
No.
I mean, Hibner caught the pass at about the 35-yard line. Moochie caught it on a 10-yard slant. Roderick was probably the deepest one on his, about 20, 25 up the right sideline. But his guys are making plays for him to make this happen, too.
And I think of the 300-plus yards, I think maybe the ball was in the air 80 yards for Jennings last game. This is a catch-and-run team, and we needed it so well. They stepped up with the absence of R.J. Maryland and Jake Bailey. Had to have that, but, man, it was so much fun to watch. It's been fun to watch Matt Hibner, who's got 7 catches now, had 3 for 108 yards last time. Really good, but he's been blocking so well. That's the thing. As good a pass catcher as he is a better blocker. Hibner, fantastic.
By the way, in addition to those 3 80-yard plays, the SMU offense has had 2 70-plus yard plays in the last 2 weeks. Daniels had the 71-yarder at Duke, and Brashard the 71-yard touchdown run Brashard Smith did last week. So big plays where it's at for the SMU offense. Time now for our Origin Bank Pick'em Challenge. And as always, we have a guest picker on the show here today. And he came with a gold medal here today. How about that? Olympic swimmer Nick Fink won 3 medals in the Summer Games in France. Now, you train over here because your wife's an assistant coach, right, for the women's swim team?
Yep. I trained with the men's team this past year, and it's been fun seeing my wife at work, too.
You pushing those guys a little harder over there?
I was trying. They're young, though. They push me, too. So
very nice. All right, we're glad to have Nick here to pick with us today on the show. Last week, Scott and I were both 2-3. Steve was 3-2.
Ooh. What was the difference? Do you remember? What game was it?
I don't know.
He always gets inside information.
That was 2 weeks ago. I've slept since then.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
You guys are 27-18. I'm 1 game ahead. So it's very close. So we're
See how he mentions the standings when he's in the lead?
He does.
I mention it every week.
I know.
You know why? I've been in the lead every week.
Because you're winning, right.
Let's start off today in the conference in the ACC. 2 o'clock today, Syracuse is at Cal. The Orange are 6-3, 3-3 in the league. Golden Bears are 5-4, just 1-4 in the league. Can you believe Cal began their ACC tenure with 4 straight losses by 9 points total? And 5 of those were at Florida State. They had 1-point losses to Miami and NC State and a 2-point loss to Pitt.
Exactly. On paper, they look fairly similar. Syracuse, 2 of its wins have come in overtime. They've had to go to OT in order to get there. And like you said, 4 of Cal's losses by a total of 9 points. Yeah. Cal's at home. Cal throws the ball very well, and Syracuse has been a little more generous with pass defense. I got Cal winning today.
Nick?
Yeah, Syracuse, I think their coach came from Georgia, DB coach there, so they're going to be scrappy. They're going to be tough, but I think the 2-hour or 3-hour time change and that distance traveled, that's going to be a lot on the legs, and I'll have to stick with Cal.
Okay. Yeah, it's a long trip. Both teams can throw it. Both teams don't run it real well. Syracuse, I think they've taken a little bit of a downslide. I'm worried about those guys. It's going to be too much. I'm going to go with Cal in this game.
Yeah, Cal quarterback Fernando Mendoza has set career highs in passing yards 2 consecutive weeks now. I'll take Cal as well. 2:30 today out of the SEC. It's 22nd-ranked LSU at Florida. Tigers 6-3. They're 3-2 in the league. Gators are 4-5 on the year. Each have lost 2 straight games coming into this one, and both of them were beaten soundly last week, Steve.
They were.
LSU got hammered by Alabama, and if LSU is still harboring ideas of maybe getting to an SEC title game, they obviously have to win today. If Derek Lagway plays for Florida, it'll be close. If he doesn't, it won't be close. Either way, LSU wins.
Okay, Nick?
Yeah, I think the window for LSU to get in the SEC championship game is small, but it's still there. It's still there, so give them something to play for. And then I think when you're Florida, if the administration has come out and say that their coach is fine, that's usually not a good sign. So I'll just go with LSU on this one. Yeah,
that's a great point. This LSU team, they have not handled mobile quarterbacks that well, no doubt about it. LSU, they get crushed. I'm surprised they got crushed like they did. Nussmeier, though, still a great quarterback, but Gators have been banged up. They're down. I'm going to go LSU in this one.
LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier has 6 turnovers in the last 6 quarters. I think he'll straighten it out today. I'll take LSU. 2:30 today, Virginia at number 8, Notre Dame. That's who we're going to see next week. Virginia, by the way, the Cavaliers 5-4. The Fighting Irish are 8-1. Virginia snapped a 3-game losing streak with a Pitt over last week. And since their shocking loss to Northern Illinois early in the year, Notre Dame has scored 49 or more in 4 of their 7 games. Steve?
Virginia has everything to play for, right? The Cavaliers are a game away from being bowl eligible. And let's not forget, they do have SMU next week. But you can get sucked into overthinking it. Notre Dame has won 7 straight by an average of 34 points per game. They're a good team, and they're too good for Virginia. Irish win.
Yeah, I'd say Notre Dame's the team of destiny to make the playoff and then get an early exit. That seems to be their path. And I think, 20 points, 20-plus points for Virginia is a lot of points to spot. They may keep it closer than that, but I think Notre Dame comes out on top.
Yeah, they beat Pitt as a road dog. This is a solid Virginia team in certain areas. They've shown some balanced offensive attacks, like running and passing. But Virginia, I don't think they've got enough to even keep it close. I think it's Notre Dame all the way today.
Yeah, the Notre Dame defense is second in the nation in passing yards per game and in pass efficiency. I'll take the Fighting Irish. 6 o'clock tonight, a team we need to go down. That's 13th-ranked Boise State and San Jose State. They're right ahead of SMU in the CFP. The Broncos 8-1. The Spartans are 6-3. Boise, as I said, 1 spot ahead. Their schedule's going to hurt them, though, I think, at some point. After San Jose, they're at Wyoming, and they host Oregon State.
Right, and they were life and death against Nevada last week. You're right. SMU does need Boise State to lose, and there are those who say the Broncos are a one-player team. But that one player, Ashton Jeanty, the running back,
pretty good.
Pretty
electric.
If the Broncos play 14 games, he is on a pace for over 2,600 yards, which would be the all-time FBS record for rushing. Call them a one-player team if you want to, but nobody's figured out a way to stop that one player yet, and San Jose's not going to figure it out today. Boise State wins.
Nick?
Yeah, I think I think San Jose State has the leading FBS receiver,
that's right,
in Nash. So they've got special players, too. I think coming off back-to-back road games, their home crowd's going to be really excited. I'm going to go with the upset here. I think San Jose State gets it done.
Oh, wow. I like it.
All right.
All right. Well,
you'll be very popular if you're right.
Hey, there you go. I'll take it.
Hey, they can run the football. They're tough, as we know. They average about 270 yards a game. Jeanty is just fantastic, and obviously a Heisman candidate. They've won 2 straight on the road. They get about 44 points per game. I don't see how San Jose State keeps it close. Boise today.
San Jose is 4-0 at home this year. They've won 7 straight at venerable Spartan Stadium. Not tonight. I'll take Boise State. And finally tonight at 6:30, big one in the SEC with 7th-ranked Tennessee at number 12 Georgia. Another team SMU needs to see go down. Vols are 8-1. The Bulldogs 7-2. Georgia pretty much in a must-win situation, not just to stay alive in the SEC, but to stay alive in the CFP.
Exactly. Tennessee wants to get into that SEC title game. Georgia wants to get into the college football playoff and absolutely needs to win today to have any chance of doing that. This will be one of those old-fashioned SEC heavyweight slugfests. Georgia's at home. Georgia knows how to win big games. Georgia wins today. And before you pick, where did you swim?
University of Georgia.
Okay. Anyone want to take a guess where he's going to go with this? Go ahead.
Wonder.
How to begin this? Chapter 1. Let's see. The reasons why Georgia will win. No, I think they don't lose back-to-back games. It's been a while since that's happened. They don't lose home games. I think Texas was a night game, and they came out firing. This will be a night game. I just don't see any reason why we're not going to win by 60, 70.
Wow.
I don't know how we're going to score those points.
I can give you a few reasons.
I don't know how we're going to score those points, but that's how much we're going to win by Georgia by a million.
All right, good.
I'm surprised. Carson Beck, I think he's thrown like 12 picks this year. I'm surprised by that, but he does take some chances and throws it a lot. Tennessee's quarterback should be ready to go, no doubt about it. But Georgia, I think they're going to bounce back today. I'm going to go Bulldogs in that one.
Carson Beck has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns over the last 6 games. And Georgia running back Trevor Etienne out with injury. I'm going to take Tennessee in this one tonight. Okay. There you go. Nick Fink, great to have you on the show here today.
Thanks so much.
I think the most informed picker we've had yet.
No, really?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Bring him back anytime, Kevin.
Thank you. Yeah.
Nick Fink joining us here, Olympic medalist on our Pick'em segment. Hey, let's give you a few final thoughts. By the way, the show is brought to you by Origin Bank. They know what strong teams can accomplish by working together. Origin's trusted advisors help you keep your financial goals within reach. Get the right people on your team today at Origin Bank, Origin.bank, member FDIC. Give us a couple of those keys to success today for the Mustangs against the Eagles.
Sure, no doubt. This SMU team has not been great coming off of buys. Today they need to be, because they're going to face a Boston College team that's going to be re-energized. They made that quarterback switch. They're going to be playing as hungry as probably we've seen them this year, I do predict. Let's see what happens, but you got to play clean today coming off the bye. Key number 2, limit the yards after contact. Boston College running backs are probably the best collection of running backs, best stable, maybe of any team in the country. They really are that good, and they're hard to bring down after you make that first hit. They get a lot of yards after contact, so we need Isaiah Wacobia and Ahmad Moses. We need to get them in the box and get them downhill. But with saying that, if we do that, which we probably will, cornerbacks have to be as good as they were in the Pitt game. So those are the 3 keys.
Now, wait a minute. Off the last bye, the first play was an 87-yard touchdown pass.
It was. But, hey, that score notwithstanding, that Stanford game wasn't as clean as I don't think we wanted it to be.
21 first-quarter points, and then it was just kind of messing around to win by 30 on the road.
That's it.
I'm with you. All right. That'll do it for our Pony Up pregame show today. We'll do it next Saturday, an early one. It'll be 9 a.m. Central Time. We'll do that one for Virginia next week. Our radio broadcast starts at 2 o'clock with a pregame today. I will talk to the Mustangs' all-time leading scorer, Colin Rogers, as my pregame guest, as well as head coach Rhett Lashley. There you see beautiful Ford Stadium that we're getting ready to head back over to. 2:30 kickoff today, 96.7 and 1310. The Ticket, the SMU app, and on Sirius XM Channel 193. Find us, turn down that TV sound, and listen to us. Hey, thanks to Nick Fink being here today, Grant Chin as well. Steve Lansdale, Scott Garner, I'm Rich Phillips. Let's all pony up.